Despite the billions of dollars spent on fuel injector cleaners each year, not one has ever been endorsed by the EPA. So, how do you know what works and what will wreck your engine? That's what we're here for. In this video, we're revealing the worst and the best fuel injector cleaners. Some of these are known to clog fuel systems, immobilize cars, and even ruin catalytic converters. At the end, we'll share a bonus cleaner that could save you thousands and is practically free. These are the worst fuel injector cleaners. Number 8, generic, low-cost fuel injector cleaners. If you ever see one of these on the shelf at a department store, run far away. It's impossible to buy a $3 chemical that will restore your engine to factory performance or boost fuel economy by 25%. Even the best fuel injector cleaners only improve fuel consumption by 2% on average, but we'll come to that later. Low-cost cleaners lack the active detergent required to clean fuel injectors, and that's polyetheramine, PEA. Instead, they use solvents like kerosene or alcohol. While these cheap cleaners can remove light surface grime, they don't tackle tough carbon deposits. What's worse is that some formulations contain chemicals that ruin parts of the fuel system. For example, cleaners containing monoethanolamine could destroy the nylon in fuel lines. This can cost up to $1,000 to repair. Unfortunately, even these low-cost fuel injector cleaners can provide temporary relief, improving rough idling or clearing the check engine light. But the havoc it could wreak on your engine can be catastrophic. The worst problem is that these cleaners can dislodge larger chunks of debris instead of dissolving them. These large chunks will then clog fuel filters, injectors, or even catalytic converters. That means cheap cleaners can cost you up to $2,500 to replace the thing they were meant to fix. Ironically, there is a popular fuel injector cleaner with a great reputation that does the same thing. We'll discuss that much later, but first, a little controversy. Number 7, Seafoam motor treatment. And for heavy-duty cleaning, Seafoam is one of the oldest and most trusted fuel additives in the world, which is why it pains me to add it to this list. Since 1942, Seafoam has been trusted by mechanics to clean carburetors and fuel systems. However, it does not clean fuel injectors. The only active agent that has been proven to obliterate carbon deposits is PEA. Sadly, Seafoam motor treatment does not contain any PEA. Instead, it uses naphtha and isopropyl alcohol. That is because this is a multi-purpose additive that can help clean oil, lubricate the engine, and even de-ice fuel lines. It can even remove small carbon deposits. However, it is not effective against stubborn, baked-in deposits that have been building up for years. Like other solvent-based products, Seafoam can loosen deposits that can cause more blockages. People who have gotten the best results from this cleaner are those who use it on 2-stroke engines. But in 4-stroke engines, like cars and trucks, little to no impact on fuel injectors. The only positive about trying to use Seafoam as a fuel injector cleaner is that at least it won't ruin your engine. If you want a product that delivers verifiable results, wait until later in the video. Number 6, Abro fuel injector cleaner. Abro is a popular global brand that is slowly making its way in the US market. Just like all good imitations, there are those who swear by it. However, the science does not agree. Abro is a solvent-based cleaner, so it will clean carbon to an extent. But in reality, it can do more harm than good. That's because instead of using PEA or another decent detergent, it mainly uses number 2 gas oil. Number 2 gas oil, which is diesel fuel, was not designed for cleaning fuel systems. Sure, it will break up some carbon deposits, which can improve engine performance and stop rough idles. However, it doesn't dissolve the deposits. Some will leave the engine, while others will block sensitive areas like the fuel injectors. The other problem with the main ingredient of Abro fuel injector cleaner is that it actually clogs filters, Worst of all, because this additive doesn't clean the fuel system properly, it can cause a rich or lean mixture. That could be why users have not reported an improvement in fuel economy. Abro also claims to dissolve gum and varnish. That's another thing diesel fuel isn't designed for. This fuel injector cleaner belongs in the junk pile because it might do more damage than it solves. At the end of this video, I'll share a bonus fuel injector cleaner that won't silently kill your engine and is surprisingly affordable. Number 5. Ethanol-based cleaners. If, like most people, you use ethanol-blended fuel, it might sound like a good idea to use ethanol-based cleaners. It is not. Ethanol is a strong solvent, and in fairness, it does a good job of cleaning fuel systems. It also dissolves varnish, gum, and sludge. However, too much of it will ruin the fuel system, especially on older vehicles. The first problem is that ethanol is hygroscopic, meaning it attracts and absorbs water. That means it increases the chance of corrosion in the fuel system. This can cost anywhere from a few hundred to a few $1,000s to correct. The second disadvantage of ethanol-based cleaners is that they loosen debris. They don't dissolve it. Like we've seen with the previous bad injector cleaners, this can clog the fuel system, especially the injectors. Another thing to be wary of is that ethanol shortens fuel life. That means you can't have this sitting in your tank for ages. Coincidentally, one of the best fuel injector cleaners has a similar problem, but we'll get to that later. Perhaps the worst quality of all is that too much ethanol can cause lean running conditions. Ethanol contains oxygen, which means the engine doesn't need as much fuel to maintain the air-fuel ratio. Unfortunately, there's no way for the ECU to know that. Running lean can lead to overheating, knocking, and even severe engine damage. If your pistons melt, you could be looking at damage of up to $5,000. All because of a fuel injector cleaner that barely did its job to begin with. Finally, if your car was made before 2000, never use ethanol-based cleaners, just to be safe. Instead, try one of these 13 engine additives that work and 5 that'll kill your car. Number 4. Marvel Mystery Oil as a primary cleaner. Marvel Mystery Oil, or MMO, has a long-established reputation as one of the best fuel additives on the market. Its versatile nature of working with oil, gasoline, and diesel has made it extremely popular for a century. While MMO can do a lot of things, including improve engine performance, it cannot clean fuel injectors. The reason I know this is because the company has made no such claim. MMO is primarily a lubricant. Its main job is to lubricate the upper cylinders, fuel pump, and injectors. When mixed with synthetic oil, MMO gets rid of and prevents sludge buildup. Because MMO is a pretty good lubricant, it can prevent or slow down carbon buildup. That is not the same thing as cleaning, which is what a fuel injector cleaner does. So, if your engine is fairly new and you don't want carbon, you can use this. However, if your car has a few battle scars, get a cleaner that contains PEA. Number 3. Kerosene-based cleaners. Have you noticed that many fuel system cleaners smell like kerosene? If it's a good brand like those we'll discuss later, it's just a petroleum distillate with a similar smell. However, low-budget fuel injector cleaners often use actual kerosene because it is an affordable petroleum distillate. This means that it can blend easily with gasoline or even diesel. Kerosene is also a solvent, which means that it can clean parts of the fuel system. But in reality, kerosene has a mild cleaning effect. Even when mixed with detergents, it doesn't dissolve hard carbon deposits. In fact, when mixed with a full tank of fuel, it doesn't do anything. Well, nothing good. There's a reason the EPA and car manufacturers forbid the use of kerosene in gasoline engines. For starters, kerosene lowers the octane in gasoline, which can cause engine knocking. If it gets really bad, it can wreck your engine. Depending on the car you drive, this can cost over $10,000 to fix. Another problem with kerosene in gasoline cars is that it dilutes the fuel, which can cause incomplete combustion. As a result, you can end up with even more carbon buildup, especially on the spark plugs. In cold weather, it also makes it more difficult to start the car. What's more shocking is that the price difference isn't that much between a PA-based cleaner and kerosene-based snake oil. Speaking of oil, the next fuel additive will likely ruffle a few feathers. Number 2. Alcohol-heavy formulas. With the average annual cost of car repairs now at a staggering $1,452, it's no wonder why motorists are always trying to get a bargain. However, some deals are too good to be true. For example, using isopropyl alcohol or other alcohol-heavy fuel system cleaners. Many people use isopropyl alcohol, also known as IPA or rubbing alcohol, to absorb and get rid of water in fuel tanks. Because it is a strong solvent, it can also remove deposits from fuel injector cleaners. However, IPA doesn't dissolve carbon deposits like PEA, but what's worse is that too much alcohol can hurt your engine. For starters, alcohol can dry out and crack seals, O-rings, and other components made of rubber or plastic. It can also lead to spark plug fouling. When it does break up deposits, they can end up clogging the fuel injectors. The worst crime of all is that alcohol causes lean fuel mixtures. As we mentioned earlier, this can cause overheating and engine knocking, which can damage pistons. This is similar to what could happen with ethanol-based cleaners. While it is okay to use IPA to remove water from fuel lines, there are fuel additives that do it better and safer. And if you want to use IPA to clean fuel injectors, you need to remove the injectors and soak them in it. But if you're going to do that, you might as well pay a mechanic $500 for a professional clean. Instead, wait to see some of the best fuel injector cleaners money can buy. Now, it's time to reveal a fuel injector cleaner that has ruined more engines than many of its predecessors combined. Number 1. Cataclean Fuel and Exhaust System Cleaner. When a product promises heaven and earth, it's usually a red flag. But in the case of Cataclean, it does what it says, most of the time. Over 10,000 users have verified that it helped them pass emissions tests, improved fuel consumption, engine performance, and restored catalytic converters. However, there is a group of people who hate it, and that's people with high mileage or very worn cars. You see, Cataclean Fuel and Exhaust System Cleaner is made of strong petroleum solvents and alcohol. It contains xylene, IPA, acetone, and a hydrocarbon solvent blend. If you do a lot of painting, either buildings or fingernails, then you know how powerful acetone is. It strips grease, varnish, and gum without leaving a trace. Then add isopropyl alcohol to the mix, and you've got something powerful. Unfortunately, it can be too powerful. This product has been known to foul spark plugs, ruin O2 sensors, and cause check engine light problems. That's because, just like the other junk, Cataclean dislodges instead of dissolving carbon deposits. Ironically, this gunk often ends up in the catalytic converter. That is why many users have had to replace their cat converters, which can cost over $2,000. So, even if it does clean fuel injectors, it can cause long-term damage. However, that doesn't make it snake oil. Cataclean works best as a preventative measure or even a mild cleaner. Now, it's time for the 5 best fuel injector cleaners. Number 5. Lucas Deep Clean Fuel System Cleaner. For nearly 40 years, Lucas Oil has been making additives of different types, and they've gotten very good at it. So good, in fact, that they boast of having the #1 oil additive in the world. While Lucas Fuel System Cleaners aren't the best, they are arguably the most popular. Lucas Fuel Treatment has a blend of oils and additives, including PEA. This makes it great for lubricating injectors, the carburetor, and the fuel pump. Some argue that it not only improved engine performance, but it also prolongs engine life by reducing wear and tear. On top of that, Lucas Fuel System Cleaner is a pretty good fuel injector cleaner. Not great, but good. That's because it does not have as high a concentration of PEA due to its multi-purpose nature. This means that if you have a ton of carbon deposits from long-term abuse, this will make a marginal difference. However, it also means that if you leave this cleaner in your tank for weeks, you won't ruin your car. You can also use slightly more than you should, and your engine could survive. The same can't be said for the second best fuel injector cleaner, but we'll get to that soon. If you like to use fuel additives regularly, this is the brand to choose. However, if you're buying a high-mileage car and you're not sure of its maintenance history, you'll need something a little stronger. Number 4. Gumout Regain High Mileage Fuel System Cleaner. If you've never used a fuel injector cleaner before and your car has seen over 75,000 miles, this is where to begin. Gumout Regain uses a higher concentration of PEA than Lucas to give you that deep clean. What I love most about this fuel injector cleaner is that it doesn't make unsubstantiated claims. Unlike other fuel additives that promise a boost in fuel economy, Gumout Regain restores lost productivity. It also restores lost performance as it strips away the carbon deposit. On average, carbon buildup can cause a 2% decrease in fuel economy. That's why most additives claim to boost efficiency by roughly this amount. Gumout does this by reducing friction in the upper cylinder. This can also reduce or prevent knocking and reduce engine noise. It also does a good job of preventing future carbon buildup after the initial treatment. But the most underrated benefit of this additive is that it conditions fuel to reduce the corrosive effect of ethanol and water. Another excellent quality is the price. You pretty much make your money back from fuel savings alone. However, remember that this is specifically made for high-mileage cars. That means you won't see as drastic results otherwise. If you want something that is even more affordable and works with all cars, wait for our bonus product at the end. Number 3. Royal Purple Max Clean Fuel System Cleaner. Now, we have another fuel additive that makes bold but realistic claims backed by verified users. This is also one of the best fuel system cleaners for long-term maintenance because you don't have to use it as often as competitors. While most brands require treatment every 3,000 to 4,000 miles, you only need one of these every 10,000 miles. RP Max has a more concentrated PEA than regular fuel injectors and is a bit more expensive, but it's worth it. It not only cleans fuel injectors, but it also restores horsepower and fuel economy. RP Max has been proven to reduce hydrocarbon, nitric oxide, and CO emissions, which makes it one of the best additives for the environment. The best thing about this fuel system cleaner is that it works with diesel, gasoline, all ethanol blends, and biofuel. That is why RP Max is a favorite with fleet managers. As RP Max dissolves deposits, it also reduces knocking. Just as a bonus, you can add a little bit of this to fuel before you store it to prevent degradation. Frankly, Royal Purple might have the best fuel system cleaner on the market. However, the next product beats it in one key area. Number 2, Redline SI1 Complete Fuel System Cleaner. Now we come to a product that could be either one of the best fuel injector cleaners or the worst. That is because Redline has the highest concentration of PEA any brand, at between 30 to 50%. By comparison, Royal Purple maxes out at 15%. This makes Redline a nightmare for carbon deposits, gum, and varnish. It cleans injectors, carburetors, intake valves, and combustion chambers. As a result, it can prevent engine knocking, restore lost miles per gallon, and horsepower. The potent mix also makes Redline great for the environment because it helps lower hydrocarbon, NOx, and CO emissions. However, this is one additive that doesn't allow failures. You have to fill and empty your tank as directed, or you might have some engine hesitation. In fairness, every fuel system treatment has to be used as directed to prevent nasty side effects. People who misuse them tend to be the ones who scream snake oil the loudest. When you use Redline SI1 often, it can help prevent future carbon buildups. As great as this product is, it can't take the crown from number 1. Number 1. Chevron Techron Concentrate Plus Complete Fuel System Cleaner. What else do you expect from a company backed by the second largest oil company in the US? Chevron's Techron Concentrate is a universally loved and scientifically tested fuel system cleaner. For years, this has been the recommended fuel additive by major manufacturers and fleet managers. Techron uses Chevron's patented PEA technology, so even though it doesn't have as high a concentration as Redline, it is highly effective against carbon buildup. It also prevents future deposits and is effective after just one treatment. Techron Concentrate is also highly versatile. It can be used on low and high mileage cars alike without causing any damage to engine components. And yes, you can use it in brand new cars. If your car has fuel gauge issues caused by sulfur in fuel, this is the cleaner to use. Because of how popular it is, Techron is a bit more expensive than its competitors. That is why it is the second best fuel injector cleaner. And now, we reveal the best fuel injector cleaner of all, Top Tier Gas. Top Tier Gas has all the additives you need, including PEA. Top Tier Gas and diesel have also been proven to reduce carbon deposits. It results in 19 times fewer intake valve deposits, which negatively impact your engine. Even though Top Tier Gas costs a few extra cents per gallon, it can reduce fuel consumption by between 2 and 4%. That's way more saved than you spent. This also makes it cheaper and more effective than Techron, Redline, and Royal Purple Max. The best part is that there is no wrong way to apply it. There is no risk of damage whatsoever to your engine, no matter how you use it. So, spend a few extra cents, save on fuel costs, and don't risk a mistake that could cost you $8,000 for an engine rebuild. Now, you know the truth about fuel injector cleaners. By using the right ones, you can keep your car running smoothly for many more years. However, if you want your car to get up to 500,000 miles, you need to watch this.